Sum 41 being pretty big, to Fall Out Boy starting to break out.
Now, would you say that was the defining moment of modern emo?
I would say of the emo lifestyle, of the oh my god, there are kids wearing floppy hair and, you know, that kind of...
Well, they wear wigs.
Yeah, there was a Mail... You read that article in the Mail about... I think I showed you. There was an article in the Mail about 4 years ago, like, saying that emo was the worst thing in the world and our children are going to all perish because, you know, they listen to these soulfully draining songs. Horrific songs that are just all about heartbreak and loss. And I'm like... Surely every song since 1953 has been about heartbreak and loss one way or another, and we all turned out okay. You know, and there is obviously the negative connotations with self-harming and one thing and another, but I don't necessarily think that isn't. You know, I think back to the Manic Street Preachers and Richie Manic. I think it was Richie. I can't remember the one that we're missing. Scarring for real in his arm in front of an NME journalist. Well, that's not particularly a great positive role model kind of thing to do. But you know, I think the lifestyle got mixed up with the public perception of the mainstream, which is what pushes things forward. Much when it's being popular. However, that negative perception got away very much from what you've been talking about, and a very vital music scene that produced a lot of great music for a very long period of time, and still does in Seattle and those areas, and still a strong scene now.
But it seems to be a broad brush now that everything that's... I mean, a lot of the metal, I assume, and stuff like that, is people look at it as emo. I mean, your average the Mail reader wouldn't know the difference.
No, that's it. So. It's just one of those things. We can't control the way other people perceive us. No. I suppose is the lesson to be learned.
As much as we'd like to.
Yes.
You can say, well, emo now sucks. What I used to listen to is brilliant, so no. You know, it doesn't work that way. However much I want it to.
I suppose that's the legend of emo. Next we move on to the booking sheet with Sophie Brumby. We have
who specifically band-wise sucks? Dish the dirt.
I was considering sitting here and naming names, but I don't think that's the way to go.
No, I mean, all three of us have experience of booking bands over the last few years, 6 months or so. Myself with Bring Music Club, Chris with the Freedom Club, and Sophie with Let's Rock Cancer and Bring Music Club. And what we thought we would bring to you is a little bit of information to bands on how you can do an improved job. You all work very hard to get gigs, but this is how you can take the next step and some things you may have missed. Or if you're just starting out, kind of a rough guide of how to get going with being in a band and getting yourself shows. So, today's subject is
social networking.
Okay.
I think it's a really, especially now, it's a really important way to start and get yourself out there. And it's easy just to set up a page and just think about how many people can see it. But you've got to have the right stuff on it, because there's no point in just having a page with your name on it. Because I've looked at that before. And you don't know who you are, what you sound like, your contact details.
Now, do you specifically, will you book a band just from their webpage?
I'll try and listen to them.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of the time they'll have samples of their music and all that sort of stuff. Can you make your judgment based on their online presence, saying, you know, this is good, that'll be a good band to book?
I do make judgments based on their like recordings and studio recordings. Yeah. But you can never really tell until you've seen them live.
Yeah.
So live videos are a good thing. Even if they're not that great quality, it gives you sort of an idea of what you're going to be like and what you're going to
harkens back to the old idea of the demo tape and stuff. That was your presence. That's all you had.
Yeah.
You know, if you didn't have a record deal and stuff like that, that was how it worked. And I can remember copying hundreds and hundreds of demo tapes to send out.
Yeah.
Because that was the way you did it. But obviously nowadays, you know, with the internet.
Yeah. I mean that there are certain advantages to this day and age of cheapness, which sounds bad, but it's true, because everyone has a camera and everyone in their phone, and everyone can record video, and it doesn't matter if the quality's not fantastic. You can just use a little snippet to say this is us and this is our live presence. I mean, most phones, even basic phones now, will give you pretty good picture quality for YouTube level stuff, or very handy to have. You know, a good recorded demo isn't particularly expensive to produce either. You know, a couple of decent microphones and a laptop, and you're away. Laptop with a good sound card, I'd like to point out. Yeah.
Well, I think young people today, here I say young people, are a lot more technically savvy and stuff as well, and know how to use the software and how to get a good result out of it, whereas previous generations like myself had no idea how to and we just had to go. Yeah. And it wasn't great, but, everybody's smarter, more talented, and younger than I am, so...
Well, Chris twists in his bitterness. Sophie. Hey. Sophie, any particular recommended sites for bands to use?
Reverb Nation's quite good. You can link it. I mean, everybody looks at Facebook and stuff now, but it's not really made for music. You have to sort of link it through something else. Reverb Nation's quite good for just putting tracks up and stuff. I'm sure there are other ones.
Reverb Nation's quite good as well for opportunities. They do a lot of big database of what you can do. If you're a little bit further up the chain and willing to spend some money, they will allow you to. They'll put you on a potentials list for festivals and things like that. Some are free, some are for a charge.
Oh, is that pay to play?
Not quite pay to play. It's kind of like an admin charge. I think it's like some of them are pay to play,
right, fair enough.
But some of them are like, for $3 we will put you on this list to go forward, and we will give you a big push. But they also do things like you can get a digital media pack with them if you're willing to pay for it, and if it's kind of like the next level up of, like, if you're touring regularly, you probably should be using this to your advantage. Yeah. And any good manager would say, well, you need to invest.
Does that take the place of a manager, sort of thing? Is it?
It can, I suppose, if you've got a pretty kind of like if you're in a band that's kind of touring a lot and you've got a couple of guys who are web savvy and you trust them to get on with it, I think you could probably get away with not having a manager at that level. Yeah. And then, we obviously all deal with local bands, and you deal with some bigger bands than that nationally with Electric Cancer. But, there's nothing wrong with aiming higher. Going to the next level. So, yeah. Anything else you'd like to say about social networking? Any other recommendations?
No, just do it.
Just do it. I would also say do it a lot, but keep information relevant. Waffling's no good, because people gets lost in the stream of information people get now. What's your favourite phrase, Chris? Information wants to be free.
It does. That's a William Gibson quote.
Is it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The guy wrote The Neuromancer in the sort of 80s and stuff, and kind of predicted the internet and how it would work and this sort of stuff, and that's what it is. One thing that I picked up on, it does information. It's like, when they talk about piracy and that sort of stuff, in the whole kind of idea that information wants to get out there and stuff, it will.
Yeah.
And the internet makes it easier.
Show and tell.
This is our first show and tell, and this is what I am showing and telling today. First, the show.
What would you say that was, Sophie?
Literally, or what it's used for?
Literally. Well, I mean, it's a glass container about 5 centimeters long by about 3 centimeters wide. It's made of glass. It's circular. It's a glass container.
Anything you'd like to add, so?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay, this is true. Now,
can I guess what it is?
you can guess what it is, Chris.
Is it for playing slide guitar?
It is for playing slide guitar.
I win!
Now, any idea what its original purpose was?
Specimen jar.
Not quite. You're right on the medical kind of thinking.
Did you used to put your heroin in it?
No,
Okay.
no.
James does not have or never has a heroin problem.
No. Any other ideas?
Swabs of some sort?
No. It is what was called a Cochradin medicine bottle.
Cochradin.
Cochradin was the name of the guy who invented the bottle. Okay. And they were very
Want to party with that guy.
they're very popular in the southern United States, specifically in Mississippi. And that is where slide guitar came from. So we've had the tell. Now and we've shown you. I should demonstrate, and I will demonstrate on an electric guitar straight into the microphone. There you go. And that is show and tell.
Well done.
Okay, well, that's all from this episode from May the 6th. Thank you very much. My name's James Trupany.
Chris Lonsdale.
Sophie Brumby.
And thank you very much for listening to Bomcast. We'll be back next week.